ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a video on the Lowsey channel, and today we are back, and as you've seen in the title, this video is how Thomas Frank can fix Tottenham Hotspur. And when you say, Kieran, what do you mean by fix? What I mean is, yes, Tottenham have just won the Europa League trophy, however, what you've got to take into consideration, Tottenham Hotspur got 38 points in the Premier League season. Tottenham Hotspur, any other year where the bottom three is competitive, Tottenham could have been down. That's how crazy this whole situation was. And for Ange to win a European trophy, it was remarkable. But ladies and gentlemen, before we get in this video, please do me a big favour. Please drop a big like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you want to see next, and if you enjoyed the video, and if you think Thomas Frank is a good appointment. But without further ado, let's get into it. Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, let's get straight in the video. So it's an analysis on how Frank can fix Tottenham Hotspur. I've got a note in front of me right now, basically a PowerPoint I've made on how I believe he can fix it, and just a bit of stats of what he did with his Brentford team, because I think Spurs under Frank, they're going to be very aggressive. They'll be a very thoughtful, pragmatic team because he's a pragmatic manager, but they will be attack-minded, but he'll also be adaptable. So let's talk about, for example, when he goes to Anfield away, St James's Park, when he's going to all these massive atmosphere grounds, you know what he can do. He can stick at the three back, he'll pack the midfield, and they'll hope to hit someone on the counter. Brennan Johnson through the middle, Solanke through the middle, maybe Mbeumo. Could he bring him? Could he steal him from Manchester United? Who knows? I think it'd be a good fit for Tottenham and for Mbeumo, because Champions League football for Mbeumo. I do believe Tottenham still need a right winger, especially someone who's left-footed, and he can play striker as well. But I would say with this appointment, it's always a bit risky, because what you've got to think of is, is it a bit like, let's give an example, when Potter went to Chelsea? I don't think it's that big of a step, because I think for me, Chelsea are so much bigger than Tottenham. But it's not just that. I think Frank is a much better manager than Graham Potter. More adaptable, more ideas. From even listening to what his players say about him, he's a manager that's always thinking, he's always at work, he loves being at work. And I just think he's a genius. I really think this is going to work. And I remember I made a video on Tottenham when Ange got appointed more than 2 years ago now. And it was how I think he can succeed. And I did say in that video that the way he plays, it can also, what's the right word? It could also be risky in the Premier League. And I think the first season was okay. They should have got Champions League. They kind of, for me, bottled Champions League. Because they had games where they could have won and could have went above Villa. And I didn't think that got spoken about enough. But then, if Tottenham were in the Champions League this season, they definitely wouldn't have won it. Would the league form have been better? Who knows? It's always if, buts and maybes. And they've won a trophy, so I think you can say, right, they got in the Europa League, won a trophy, but the Champions League is where you want to be if you're a Tottenham Hotspur fan. Just a bit of stats on Frank's Brentford. So last season, they averaged about 47.82% possession in the Premier League. That's not bad for Brentford. And when I say for Brentford, don't take that personally, Brentford fans, but if you look at some of the teams in the Premier League that like to have a lot of ball, Manchester City, Liverpool, even Brighton, a team that love having the ball when Brighton are on it, because I think Brighton are a bit inconsistent as well. Could make a video on them soon as well. Teams like Chelsea always want to have the ball. Chelsea love to dictate the ball and control the game. So Brentford, I've seen them play against top teams and have a lot of the ball, but I've also seen them shut up shop and be like, right, we've scored, break it down. Brentford, over their 4 Premier League campaigns, averaged 57 goals, and they were the 5th highest Premier League scorers this season, with 66 goals scored in the Premier League. Now, for me, I think that's very impressive for a Brentford team to score 66 Premier League goals and be the 5th top scorers. Like, that is so good. And he's brought them from, I think he had spent 2 years in the Championship, I believe. 2 full seasons in the Championship. Like, going into the Premier League and the progression, like last year they finished 16th, but they had circumstances last year of injuries, but this year they've totally kicked on another level, Brentford, and I think this approach will go down like a treat with the Tottenham Hotspur supporters. They want to see attacking football, but they don't want to see Ange Postecoglou all guns blazing, attack, don't defend, high line, mate. They don't want to see that. They want to see a Tottenham that can attack well, dominate teams, the teams that they should be dominating, win games, score a lot of goals, picking up points, But Tottenham will also say, right, we've got Liverpool away. We can't just do what Ange does, high line. They're going to beat her. Where Frank is a bit more pragmatic, and that's why I think it's a much better fit for Tottenham Hotspur. Just a bit of stats as well on possession won in the final third in the Premier League last season. So Brentford were the third best team for possession won in the final third. They won possession 190 times in the final third, and they were also they were sixth for high turnovers in the Premier League. They had 319 high turnovers in the Premier League last season. I think at the end of last season, well, the Europa League finals, the main one that you saw, Postecoglou tried to play a bit of he deployed a pragmatic approach against Man United. He did get the goal, and then they defended the box. It was low block. It was something different from Ange, but I'm a part of the belief that if you let Ange go to next season, the same stuff will have occurred. He's not just going to change his style for the Premier League season in low block. I just don't think Ange would have found that balance at Tottenham Hotspur. So that's why I think this appointment is so much better, and I think Daniel Levy has got it right. And I know everyone's going to be a bit like, oh, it's Thomas Frank. Like, people might be underwhelmed, but honestly, I think this is a fantastic appointment. Like, if Eddie Howe was to ever leave Newcastle to get the England job, for me, I want Thomas Frank. And Tottenham have got that guy. He will do good things with Tottenham. I'm not saying he's going to win a cup in his first season, but I think Daniel Levy's going to probably say to him, look, we've got to get us back into that top six, and ideally, probably going to have to get us want to be in the Champions League. They're in it this season. It'll be interesting to see how Frank can adapt his game in European football, especially the highest competition there is, because he's never actually played in Europe before as a manager, or managed in Europe before. But I just want to touch on a bit of, this video is a bit structured, it's all over the place, but I just want to touch on Frank's formations in the Premier League. So how many times he played a back three to how many times he played a back four. So in the Premier League, he's played a back three 71 times, and he's played a back four 81 times. It's nearly a 50-50 split of what he's going to do. The thing about Brentford is you don't quite know how they're going to play us. So I remember when they played my team, Newcastle, if you can't tell, like 1, 2, all here, all up there, medals up there. Like, if you couldn't tell anyways, when he played Newcastle the week before, they played like I think it's like a 3-5-2. So I'm like, alright, I'm expecting 3-5-2 here. Then we'll go play Brentford away, and they played a 4-2-4. Had 4 attackers playing, but one of the midfielders that played as well, I think he's called Yarmulke, was playing really high in the game as well. So it was like a 4-1-1. I was like 5. I was like, what's going on? Like, no, a 4-1-1-4. I was like, what is, like, it was crazy, and it was I think it was like a 4-2 game or something at Brentford. And he's kind of pivoted away from the back three this season in the Premier League. He played a lot of 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, and he was using Damsgaard as his 10 when he played the 4-2-3-1, which I think Damsgaard, I don't think he'll take him to Tottenham. I think he's got a kind of Maddison can do that role, and do that role so much better if he can get Maddison playing, which he definitely can, because Maddison's a fantastic player. But in terms of his most used formations in the Premier League, he used the 3-5-2 53 times. He's used the 4-3-3 51 times. He's used the 4-2-3-1 22 times. He's used the 5-3-2 16 times, 4-4-2 4 times, 4-5-1 3 times, 3-4-1-2 1 time, 3-4-2-1 once, and 4-3-1-2 once. What's that, like 9 formations or something in the Premier League he's used? Like, that's crazy. And how do I, like, that just shows how adaptable he is. And he's not a manager, right, it's this way and it's this way only. He's got his principles, and we know that, but he's not afraid to say, right, this formation, we're going to hit them with a 4-2-3-1. But next week we're playing Chelsea, and we're going 4-3-3. Or it might be, right, we're going to, I don't know, St. James's Park, as I was saying earlier in the video. Let's deploy this 5-3-2, or this 3-5-2. Let's deploy that. Break us down. We'll hit them on the counter-attack. We'll have Brennan Johnson. We'll have Mbeumo. We'll have Maddison to dictate the play. We'll have some big man up front with Solanke. We'll have Kulusevski. That's like the sort of options he's got. And for me, he's getting some players, not all of them, but some players are so much better than what he has at Brentford. They're going to go up a level. And I think Frank will go up a level. And I think, how could he line up in if his exact team right now, I think, right, the players he's probably going to want to build his team around is if he can keep Van de Ven fit, Van de Ven straight in. If Romero stays and doesn't leave, Romero's got to be staying. Vicario, I'm still unkeen on Vicario, but he probably will use him. You've got Udogie on his day, one of the best left backs in the Premier League. Brennan Johnson's come off of a great year. Kulusevski, fantastic. Madison's been decent. Solanke, I think he scored 8 Premier League goals. But Frank will get Solanke firing. Solanke's going to hit 15 plus goals in the Premier League this season, I'm telling you. When I think of a realistic goal for Tottenham next season, I honestly think, because we know Tottenham are going to buy players, we don't know who, but I honestly think Tottenham will be back in the top 7 next season, just of this appointment alone. Like, he is so good, and when he's going to have someone like Pedro Porro, who's Tottenham's most effective crosser in the Premier League and in all competitions this season, when he can get that ball, if he can get it to Solanke, Tottenham are going to be in for a great season. And I just think Tottenham are going to be back, and I think it's going to, again, I feel like we're seeing every year, this is going to be the most competitive Premier League. But I think Man U are making good signings. It just depends on, can Amarin's system click, and can Amarin click? Can all the other teams who are currently around the top 7 keep it going? I do think you'll see a few fall-offs, like Brentford. I think they'll have a massive fall-off now with Frank. I think they'll be like 13th and below now, which is still decent for Brentford. But I think teams like Bournemouth, they've lost so many players with the way they run the club. They're probably going to spawn in a few wonder kids, and they're going to be class. But no, I think Tottenham fans, you've got to be so excited with this season, because the way I look at it, you've just finished 17th place. Surely, the only way with Thomas Frank is up. Surely. His high energy style is going to suit so many of the players. I'm just so excited to see Tottenham Hotspur. I've never really been, like, even under Ange, like everyone said, oh, it's good for the neutral, but I didn't really like it. For me, it's not football. Frank is going to get this team playing. He will face a lot of new challenges. We know that. He's going to have to overcome situations he's never overcome before. But look, Frank is a good fit. And if Thomas Frank can go into the next season and get Tottenham back into the Champions League, back-to-back seasons in the Champions League for Tottenham, then that is fantastic. If Thomas Frank can get Tottenham a trophy, he's up here for Tottenham. And Tottenham have the perfect manager to build. He spent 7 years at Brentford. Look what he built. Spend 3, 4, 5 years at Tottenham, providing he can do a good job every season, he'll build something special. You might say, well, Kieran, he's won nothing. He hasn't won any trophies. Like, the only thing he's won is the playoff final. How can you say that? Trust is. Do you expect Brentford to win a trophy under Frank? No. Can he win under Tottenham, and should you expect him to win a trophy with Tottenham in his first 3 to 4 years if he makes it that long? Yes. But guys, thank you so much for watching the video. It's just something to think about. It's not a proper breakdown, but I just wanted to throw a few things at you because I've been thinking all day. This is a top guy, top manager. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please like, subscribe and comment. We'll be back with another football video in the next couple of days, so look out for it, and I'll see you in the next one.